Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today we are doing something I realize we haven't done in a while here on the channel, going all the way back to early September. We're gonna speculate when we're gonna get some Nintendo news. It's crazy. Normally, this is like the flow of the channel. We're talking daily about Nintendo Direct this, Nintendo overview trailer that. Today we're talking about news. We're gonna talk about what we can expect to see from Nintendo at the Game Awards, and not just Nintendo, but also third parties that I think we might end up seeing announce their games for Nintendo Switch 2, be that release dates for the likes of Elden Ring or Indiana Jones, or maybe new port announcements, or even just new game announcements that would also include Nintendo Switch 2 right at the bottom of the screen when it has all the platforms. I want to talk about what we could see for Nintendo Switch 2 players at the Game Awards, which, by the way, is very soon. Today is December 9th. The Game Awards are on December 11th. I will be live streaming my reactions to these, so if you want to see that and hang out with me while I watch it, I would appreciate it. That stream will be scheduled after this video goes live, but let's go ahead and start talking about what we could see from Nintendo at the Game Awards. Now, the past couple of years, Nintendo has been very they have not been giving Keighley the reveals, we'll say. We have not seen much from them. But, early in the Switch era, they were constantly revealing things there. Smash Bros. Characters, games that Nintendo was publishing, like Bayonetta 3, or even like a game that was, closely associated with Nintendo, No More Heroes 3. Like that was there. Bravely Default 2, I believe, was at the Game Awards. So years ago, it was a very common occurrence, but recently, they definitely haven't been doing too much. I think that is going to change this year. I do think, even if there are not any major new game announcements, I do think we are going to see at least one update on a major Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. And I guess we can start here. That is the Duskbloods. So the Duskbloods, if you forgot, back in April, they announced it as a Switch 2 exclusive. This is a PvPvE game coming from Software, the developers of Dark Souls, Elden Ring, most recently Night Rain, which was an Elden Ring multiplayer game that I really loved what I played of. Nintendo got the exclusive rights to a new From Software game directed by Miyazaki. It's his first project as director since Elden Ring, so it's a pretty big deal, and it's coming out in 2026. Now, we don't have any more information about it beyond that. We have not seen any more of it since back in April, and I feel like if you're Nintendo, or maybe even if you're Keighley, and you're trying to work out, okay, what can we show here for the Nintendo audience? Maybe you don't announce the new Monolith Soft game. Maybe you don't announce the new Next Level Games, Luigi's Mansion 4, right? That maybe doesn't make the most sense. But at least a new trailer and probably a release date for the Duskbloods, I feel is extremely likely here. From Software and the Game Awards, especially in recent years. I mean, they are always showing off From Software stuff at the Game Awards. Elden Ring popped up again with a release date at Summer Games Fest. Armored Core was at Game Awards. Night Rain was at Game Awards. They have a good relationship. I think it's high time we see more of the Duskbloods, and I'm putting that down as my prediction for like what I think for sure we will see. I do think we will get a new trailer. A release date would be nice. Maybe they don't get that crazy with it. I do expect the game to release in the first half of the year, though, so probably a release date, maybe sometime in the summer, like July, a little bit past that halfway points. And what I think would be really awesome to see for this game is some sort of open beta. From Software always does betas. They always do network tests, even for the games that are more single player oriented. Like Elden Ring had a network test. Dark Souls Remastered had a network test on the Switch 1. Some sort of network test announcement for Duskbloods that could maybe even be out very soon. Maybe not a shadow drop, but they're like, hey, early January, you can try out Duskbloods for yourself. Give us some feedback. I think would be awesome to see. And yeah, like I said, I played a little bit of Night Rain, and I really enjoyed what I played of it. It definitely kind of gave me more faith in a From Software multiplayer project. I cannot wait to see more of Duskbloods. They're clearly, given into that Bloodborne energy, this gothic horror kind of setting. I thought it was Castlevania in my reaction to it back in April. I think it's time we see more of that game here. But what else from Nintendo could we see? Now, we're going to go over to Go Nintendo, and we have to read a little bit here, but people have been kind of speculating that there might be Mario Kart DLC at the Game Awards. This feels highly improbable to me, but I wanted to bring it up. So, reading here, it says Nintendo Today data mining leads to speculation concerning Mario Kart World DLC and a certain Donkey Kong character. I guess there will be some spoilers here for Bonanza if you have not played it. So it says here that the Nintendo Today app received an update earlier this week that added in a variety of things, including a new Donkey Kong theme. As soon as the update released, data miners were quick to jump in on the app and see what else was hiding behind the scenes. And an interesting discovery has caused a bit of speculation. So once again, spoilers for the end of Bonanza. It says here that later this month, Nintendo Today will be sharing some new animations. In particular, an animation of King K. Rool is set to appear on December 15th, 2025. This is the first time that Nintendo will acknowledge that K. Rool makes his return in DK Bonanza, which was no doubt a shocker for those who have played the game. Why give Rool his first mention outside of the game now? That's where the speculation comes into play. As you probably know, Game Awards set to air December 11th, 2025. As always, Nintendo fans are wondering if the Big N will have anything to showcase. With this Nintendo Today data mine discovering a mention of K. Rool, some believe that Nintendo could be preparing to share a DLC reveal at the Game Awards. In particular, hopes are pinned on a Mario Kart World DLC that adds K. Rool to the list of racers. And if you missed it back in June when we got the credits of Mario Kart World when the game released, the voice actor for K. Rool, Suguo Mogami, is in the credits of that game, and people are kind of like, well, what's going on here? As long with Void Kong's voice actor, and those characters are not in the game. Now, I will say right now, yes, I 100% think that K. Rool and Void Kong and some sort of big Donkey Kong DLC is coming to Mario Kart World. I just don't know if that is the game they would, like, show at the Game Awards. You know? We've had a lot of Nintendo reveals at the TGAs over the years. The TGAs. I guess it's just TGAs. The is kind of redundant there. We've had a lot of reveals from them over the years, and it's never something like Mario. You know? We had Mario movie, which we'll talk about in just a second. There was a teaser for that a couple years back, but showing off new DLC for Mario Kart at the Game Awards, that just does not feel right to me. Could it be time? Maybe. I'm not sure, man. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below. Do you think they could be teasing, or not even teasing because it was data mine, but do you think we could be getting ready for some Mario Kart DLC at the Game Awards? I just feel like that's your February direct, you know, kind of one of the headlines in that, and they announce it for late spring, early summer, and it's a big paid expansion or whatever, however they want to do it. It should be free given the game's $80, but it feels too soon, but also it feels late in a weird way. Or at the very least, I just don't know if the Game Awards is the right outlet to show it. Let me know your thoughts. I think this is a stretch. I don't know if Nintendo Today having some K. Rool mentions in it is a sign that they're going to start publicly talking about K. Rool more. It is kind of interesting that that's our first mention of him. But yeah, I'm not too sold on the whole Mario Kart World DLC popping up here. That being said, I do actually think there is another Mario thing that will be at the Game Awards, and that is some sort of teaser, some sort of clip, cutscene, whatever that you want to call it, for the Mario Galaxy movie. So back in, I guess it would have been 2022 at the Game Awards, they actually showed, it's the scene where Toad gets Mario to the Mushroom Kingdom for the first time, and he's kind of running through and you know, seeing all these toads and stuff going through the pipes a little bit. That was shown at the Game Awards, one of our first kind of in-depth looks at the movie. I think it is very possible, if not likely, that they do a similar thing here and give us another look at the Mario Galaxy movie. The movie's coming out in April. We have the trailer. That's it. I think it's time we see a little bit more. Keep that marketing going. It's possible they don't repeat it, but given that they showed it last time and then that movie made over $1 billion, you probably want to repeat that success. Or maybe they don't think they need the Game Awards or something. But with how big the show's gotten, I mean, if you want to put eyes on your new movie coming out, that would make a lot of sense to me. So I do think we will get a sneak peek at the Mario Galaxy movie in this showcase. But other than those three things, Duskblood's Mario Kart DLC and Mario movie, I feel like there hasn't been much chatter this year, which is kind of surprising, but also kind of not, because we already have so many Nintendo games announced for 2026. It feels like we don't need anything else. But it is the first year of Switch, too, and in the first year of Switch, well, what did they announce there? They announced Bayonetta 3 at Game Awards 2017. Could we see Nintendo kind of come back to the Game Awards in a big way now that they have their new console, they're dominating in sales, with some sort of collaborative announcements? I kind of feel like that would just be the Duskblood spot, right? Like they're just going to show that again. That's their kind of cool. Nintendo's, you know, working with this crazy hardcore dev that, you know, the Game Awards audience maybe will appreciate more than like a Nintendo Direct audience or something. But could we see something from like Platinum or some other studio that Nintendo's working with? I mean, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced at the Game Awards. I'm not really sure what teams could even like have some sort of collaboration like that. Koei Tecmo is the one that comes to mind with some sort of game for maybe like Team Ninja or Omega Force or something. But we just got Hyrule Warriors, and we're getting Pokopia, which they're co-developing in March. Platinum Games did just release Ninja Gaiden 4, but maybe they have something else they're working on. Bayonetta 4, Astral Chain 2. Oh my god, can you imagine if Astral Chain 2 pops up? That feels highly unlikely, but I would lose my mind if that was announced here. But let me know if you have any ideas for what Nintendo could announce at the Game Awards in the comments down below from first party, or at least, games they're publishing with their partners, that kind of thing. I don't really see them announcing like Monolith Soft's new project here or Next Level Games. I mean, those are very much Nintendo Direct announcements next year, I think. Even Mario Kart DLC, like I said, kind of feels wrong. So Duskblood's Mario movie teaser, those are the things I'm really expecting here. Anything else will be a very pleasant surprise. But that's not all for today's video, because I do want to talk about third parties. So if you've missed it, a lot has already been announced for what's going to be there. They actually announced this morning, it's not on their accounts, but they actually announced this morning that a new Tomb Raider game is being announced. It seems, based on the rumors, that it's going to be a remake of the original Tomb Raider or something. That could totally come to Switch too. In fact, I think it will. Oh yeah, right here, I found the tweet. Lara Croft returns at the Game Awards as just revealed in our Game Awards vote in Fortnite map portal. Good lord. Tune in Thursday night for a look at the future of one of gaming's most iconic franchises. Considering we just got Tomb Raider Definitive Edition kind of surprise dropped, I think it is extremely likely that whatever this is, be it the next new entry, be it a remake of an older Tomb Raider game, this will probably be announced for Switch 2 as well. There's been a lot of other stuff. I mean, Lego Batman 3 is going to be there, presumably with a release date. I think we already know that's coming to Switch 2, so we'll get some news over there. There's been this whole Game Awards statue thing that pops up, I think in Arizona somewhere. It's some sort of viral marketing to announce a new game. According to a lot of insiders, it's not a God of War tease, it's not Elder Scrolls, it's not Diablo 4, which I thought it was, not Lords of the Fallen. Jason Schreier, very reliable source over at Bloomberg, says it's very cool and many people will be excited for it. I guess some people are speculating it might be From Software, which would be crazy if they have another game on top of Duskblood's coming out next year, or even announced for release further out. I really thought it was going to be Diablo 4, and that's actually a good shout for a game that I think could have a port announced for Switch 2 very soon. To me, this strikes me as the kind of thing where it's going to be some game that like I personally won't be super into. I've seen some people throwing around Divinity Original Sin 3 from Larian, of course, the creators of Baldur's Gate 3, a huge Game of the Year winning game a couple of years ago. Could it be that? I think that's very possible. That would also probably come to Nintendo Switch 2. I think Divinity Original Sin 2 did come to Switch 2, or Switch 1, I should say. So yeah, I think Larian will pop up. Maybe even with a Baldur's Gate 3 port for Switch 2. I think that's very possible. And then beyond that, I mean, even just release dates for what we already have announced. I mean, you have Elden Ring, which got delayed out of the year. Could Bandai Namco toss us a release date for that finally, if it's ready? Maybe. Borderlands 4 as well, I think, could pop up. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is interesting. There's a lot of speculation that that third part for that series might pop up with a teaser at the Game Awards for a 2027 release. Would you announce Rebirth for Switch 2 before Remake Intergrade is out? I think you might, especially if they actually do announce Part 3. We have Remake coming out in January on Switch 2 and Xbox. Maybe you announce Rebirth for the summer, and then you tease Part 3 for 2027 or something. I would love to see anything from Square Enix, frankly, announced for any platform. I'm always waiting for more Square Enix love. And I mean, really, when it comes to third parties, there's just limitless expectations. Like, I mean, they could announce anything. Last year, there was a lot of games announced that ended up coming to Switch. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, Shadow Labyrinth, Split Fiction was announced there, and that later became a Switch 2 title. I think we're going to see a lot of third-party games just also casually announced for Switch 2 alongside the other platforms for the first time, but also maybe some port announcements. A release date for Indiana Jones would be nice. Maybe some more Xbox stuff in general. Forza Horizon 3, Halo Campaign Evolved, if that pops up here, maybe they go ahead and confirm a Switch 2 version for that. I expect this Game Awards to be the most Nintendo logo-heavy of any Keighley event so far. Maybe not in terms of Nintendo themselves announcing things, but I think at the end of the trailers where they show the platforms, we're going to see that Switch 2 logo pop up more than we ever have for the Switch in the past, decade. So it's very exciting. I love the Game Awards. I love watching these every year with my friends. Once again, I will be streaming it, reacting to it. It's always just a good time. Even if not every game they announce is exciting for you, even if there's a lot of ads, even if sometimes they don't handle the awards themselves all too well, it's always just a good time to celebrate gaming, see what awards go out, and all that. So yeah, I will be streaming. I really would appreciate it if you came and hung out with me while we watched. I'll be reacting with some friends as well. December 11th at 4:30 Pacific, I believe, is when the pre-show starts. So I'll probably go live around 4 p.m., 4:15, somewhere in that range. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What games do you hope to see announced at the Game Awards 2025? And until next time, folks, peace.